Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? My assets are all screwed up here. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I think I'm alone today, but you guys are already here. Plush, good morning. Dylan, always got to have two turners. MP is at the gym. Dropped our link in the Twitter chat in the group. So if anybody is feeling up for talking today, please join me. I enjoy talking with people much more immensely than talking to myself and following my little script that I gave myself for today. Today we are talking about memorizing versus what was the word that I was going to use? Memorizing versus just reciting things. Okay, that definitely kind of more applies to school. But like, why do we teach the kids that? Why do we teach them what we want to teach them? Why do they go to school to learn the things that they are taught? And I'm going to start today with asking you guys a little question. Good morning, Paul. Good morning. Good morning, Matson, Robbie. Question for you guys today. I thought about this morning. I was up way early. I was up as early as Dom is normally, but in the mountain time. So I read, I wrote, I really thought about this hard, especially as a parent, as a teacher. What's something that you guys remember learning as a kid? And we'll use the frame of reference as school. What's something that you had to learn as a kid, or high school or college? You had to know it, but then you immediately forgot it after the test. My example, I'm going with college. If you went to college, you probably had to take some kind of general education course. Mine was, since I was in art school, I had to take Art 101. And as far as I know, from as many people as I've heard, Art 101 is generally a class where you sit and the professor talks you through slides of the famous artists and art. Despite really enjoying art and being an artist, that was the worst class I ever had to take, especially somebody who is not good at just memorizing facts. Hour and a half watching a slideshow, all the dead white guys, Da Vinci and others right now already. I am not a good memorizer of art history. Even as an art teacher, I very rarely hit on art history because David's here. Good morning. Who else jumped in here? David, I sent you the link in Twitter. Don't worry, it's a safe link. I'm not stealing your money. But yeah, Art 101, it was terrible, especially as someone in college at 8 o'clock in the morning. Like that is not a great memorization time for me. So I was very much largely memorizing dates and names of artists and when they did these pieces, just for the test. And there are very few tests or very few artists and art pieces that I know the exact details of. My buddy Zach, who was on last weekend, he nailed it. In fact, he will reference certain pieces once in a while, and I'm like, I got nothing. As an art teacher, I don't remember the words that we learned here. Somewhere I have an entire book of these notes and pieces. Today I tried putting the chat down in the corner, but it's very small. But it's cool to see, just to kind of see the live feed here. Paul, we're going with trigonometry. Mid-90s student writing out one equation to a 2 to 3 page explanation to get an answer. No way I can remember the formulas to complete complex math questions now. I never take, I was never good enough to take trigonometry. I never made it that far. So, congrats, Paul, to making it that far. David, no coffee yet. Well, David, get that coffee and join in, please. Oh, polishing some technology issues. We'll see. Well, as long as we can hear your voice, that's good enough. We can imagine your face talking. That's fine. Plush on coffee number 2. I am on Celsius number 1, and I'm going to stay there today. Just a little bit of my time right here. I spent the past 2 days as a solo parent. Had the girls. Yesterday, I ended up staying home because our dogs, we just can't keep them in a crate for. Yesterday would have been 12 hours in a crate. So I stayed home, was moderately productive, getting back in my gym routine after the fire hose of the start of the school year. Just not hitting it. Definitely starting to feel it. It's been like a month and a half without like my regular just getting out routine. But I have this. This is my routine here, which is good. MP, 2 coffees and a pre-workout and ready to go. Well done. Turn that dial up to 11, buddy. So yesterday was a great day. And I'm going to preface this with my appreciation for all you single parents out there. Just me with the girls. And even though I took the day off, I wasn't off. I was still like doing things around the house, getting some more of the like checking emails, getting all these things done that I haven't done, updating some grades, the background stuff of teaching that I enjoy less than teaching. After school, we had to do a practice hustle. Kira had a volleyball game, had to get my 2 little girls here. And Kira she's my oldest. She's playing volleyball. We are, who's in the UR? Oh yeah. Got a story about that too. Trigonometry is fun. That sounds like an oxymoron to me, who was never a math person. Advanced calculus was not your favorite until getting to physics and stats. I do enjoy statistics though. So yesterday, volleyball game, my middle daughter, we needed line people. Okay, so it's intramural. It's a very involved sport at our school. It's just been a really great experience as a parent and teacher. I have to ref games, and then I often have to find students to be the line judges in volleyball. So didn't have any students available, so I gave Junie the flag, who is not usually one to volunteer for those like really, really vital positions like reffing or something. So Kira was teaching Junie on one corner, and then I ended up having to take the other corner. And I'm just sitting there, just really enjoying this moment. I'm totally flexing my teacher card at my school by involving my kids. And then I had Hazel standing with me doing the flag, making sure she's watching, all that jazz. Just a really good parenting moment. David's here. David, excellent. I'll get to you in a second. And then after, I had 2 soccer practices to drop kids off at the same time. And I just streamlined it, and I brought Junie to Kira's soccer practice. So Junie's beginning soccer, jumped in with Kira's more advanced team, has been together for 2 years. And I just threw her into the mix, and she did awesome. Also, Junie is not one to like really take those big jumps and risks, but yesterday she grew wings, y'all. And all my kids were there, and it was just like one of those days where you're like, I am nailing parenting today. And we came home and had pizza, and I got them to bed on time, and I got them showered, and I went to bed before 9 o'clock. So I would say yesterday was a win. Let's get David on here. David, we can't see your face, but I can hear your
I
noise.
know it's a black box. Sorry.
No, there's a circle in there that kind of vibrates with your voice. So we almost have robot you, which is it's totally fine.
All right.
It might be AI, but we'll never know. So that's fine. How are you today, David?
I am good. How are you? How's the couch? I
The
see a
couch?
lot of
We're
banter
good.
going on already in the
It's
chat. So
yeah, it's nice. There's so every time I jump into StreamYard here, there's always a bunch of settings to play with, and I found this setting where I can show the chat down on the bottom. So you can kind of see who's jumping in as long as
yeah, yes, plush, Mr. Black Box.
that
You are
sounds
correct.
that sounds mysterious.
I know.
David, today we're talking about teaching kids to know, not memorize. You got some older kids. I'm sure you've had to gone through that. Some of the questions that I might have for somebody like you are: what are the things that you might recall having to teach your kids or help them know for school that maybe you were sitting there and being like, I'm not enjoying teaching you this, but you have to know this, so let's at least get it memorized. Is there anything that kind of comes to your mind?
That is a thought-provoking, so I have to think about that for a hot minute.
One thing that I remember is I had a terrible sixth grade year. And my dad really, I would say sixth grade is when my dad really flexed his dad muscles. He was also teaching, and like he just gave me a really good life talk one day, and then like set up this plan to get me back on track with grades and stuff. One of the things I remember is the periodic table and memorizing like all the elements and like coming up with ways to memorize like for example, the one I remember the most is copper. Copper, as we all should know, is David. Do you know the two letters for copper?
I do not.
It is Cu. And here's how I was taught. Copper could be referencing a policeman. Okay, you might be a thief or the robber, and you're getting in your car and you say, "See you, copper." That's what made it stick. Now, do I know anything else about copper besides their pennies? And if you go into a construction site and get a bunch of copper tubing and get a lot of money, that's all I know about copper. Okay. And it turns a cool color when it gets really hot. That's all I really know about copper, but I do know its periodic table element or letters. Na is what? Na, anybody in the chat? David, Na.
Feels like Ferris Bueller. Anybody?
Somebody's got to know it.
I do not.
A. Nope, not nickel, bro Fitz, but kind of close. Na. Yes, Robbie, it's sodium. And here's how my dad taught me sodium. Would you like some salt? Nah. That is how my dad taught me salt. Niobium? Is that one of those new elements, Mama Bear? I've never heard of that. It sounds like something from the Avengers. But that's so that's what. Hang on, doggy.
So I guess my quick story there on teaching. I mean, we can talk about mnemonics and everything on how you.
No, we're done. Let's move on. Go.
But it's funny. This is a junior story. I think every parent has this moment where your kids say, "Where are my shoes?" And of course, my quick response was, "It's like, where'd you leave them?" But I remember with my middle daughter that she said the same thing. I said, "So okay, let's go find your shoes." And, one was in one room, one was in another, and it's like, It's like, anyway, we grabbed the shoes, took them out to the shoe rack by the front door where they should be. And I had her place them there. I said, now, if you take off your shoes and you place them here, you'll always know where they'll be. And she thought that was brilliant. I cracked up. I think she was probably 5, 6 years old. And then I told her, I said, go tell your sisters.
So
So
really,
she was educating the entire house on what to do with their shoes. So it was a ton of fun.
so not just what to do, but why. And the why is so you
Exactly.
don't lose your shoes. Yeah, I would say that is a very excellent like first introduction is into knowing the why. Um, so I was doing my reading. I guess that last time this year, I was really good at like jotting down notes. And today is about learning at memorization. I wrote down, my hope as a teacher is that standardized testing will go the way of scoliosis tests from the 80s and 90s. Um, if you're a kid of the 80s and 90s, you probably had a scoliosis test, right? Where you go into a nurse, you bend down and touch your toes. They kind of put a ruler on your back, and then they either say you're fine, and then you never hear about it again, ever again.
Hmm.
It's like I knew it was some back thing, and it was just like a really, really quick flash in the pan of my childhood where scoliosis was an issue, and then that was it. I never remember hearing about anything else. But standardized tests, it's like that is like a test in memorization. And every year, the absolute worst experience, besides planning for subs, is standardized testing. Um, we follow the rules of like a testing company where it's like all the material has to be collected and kept secret. Teachers have to pace around the room for up to an hour or longer, making sure the kids are just taking a test on an iPad. It is probably like the worst teaching situation ever. We had maybe CTBS tests. You guys remember CTBS tests? I'm assuming, David, at some point you had some kind of standardized testing.
Sounds like blood work I get at the doctor's office. So no, I don't remember that name.
Okay.
But yeah, we had a lot of standardized testing.
Yeah. It's just, I think, just a plight on public education. But otherwise, I enjoy it. What else we're getting into today? Memorization. My teaching year up to now, up to this year, I would say out of the 13 years I've been teaching, this year I've been as the least focused on grades as far as I know. And one of the things, and I was very open at this with the kids, with my students, is that like, yes, grades are part of like what you get in an art class, but it's like, how do you feel about making something that you like, but then it being reduced down to like a number or a letter? And that's like, that's the constant push and pull in my head as a visual arts educator, is like, how do we make assessment relevant and timely for kids to get something out of this? It's like, why are they learning to draw? Why are they learning to paint? Why are they learning to mix colors? Why is sketching so important when you could just start painting right away? Like all those things. Even yesterday, I had like even my youngest daughter jumping into practice with her oldest daughter. It's like, no, she's not there to start like to just learn moves and like the techniques and skills of older kids. It was very much set an alarm.
That was my phone.
Is that your alarm for your third coffee, David?
I haven't started my first one.
Oh,
Plush has my second one, but I
oh,
haven't started my first one yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, Dylan, self-grading. I do a lot of self-grading, self-reflection. That's the most important. And if they do that, I give them an A. And I really, really do very little grading of their actual physical product, as far unless it's usually just to talk and letting them talk about what they're making. Where was I? Soccer, Junie. It was very. It was not like, hey, we're putting you on your oldest daughter team so you can learn how to kick like them or move like them. It was really more about, I know you're going to be uncomfortable here, but you're going to jump in here like you just jumped into a new team. Or well, yeah, you are jumping into a new team. But what's that teaching her? She's teaching her flexibility, adaptability, um, the ability to listen and learn. Like, those are the things that I really wanted her to jump in with. And David, especially like with people who have older kids, um, I guess having younger kids, it's like, how do you teach kids to become interested, right? Like, I talked about my square dancing and juggling class in third grade, and my shop class teacher. Like, the two classes that I remember the most that I use today are gym, with like square dancing, being uncomfortable but adapting, and shop class, the importance of routine and awareness and developing a system to build something. What are some things, David, that you might have noticed growing up with your kids? First of all, what did they become interested in, and how did they get there? Does that make sense?
That is, yeah, it's a very curious question. We can go reflect back to the day and then where they are now, which is very interesting. But like in sports, and I was going to make a comment on you. I was just listening, Jay. You know, I don't like the way the school systems index and measure kids with numbers and letters,
Same.
because at the end of the day, you may have a child. Now I'm going on a ramble here, but you may have a child that's absolutely brilliant, but if the score is 1 to 10, and your kid falls on a 6 or a 5, um, they're considered underperforming. And when they actually have a brilliance in a certain area, and getting back to your question, how do you develop that? How'd they get to where they are today? Um, I think my favorite story is, all my girls just like woke up one morning and said, "This is what I want to do." And as a parent, it's like, I'll get behind that 400%. It's like, how do I get you to the next level? Um, so, sports is an easy conversation, at least for dads. My oldest decided one day, I think she was in 7th grade, she goes, "I want to play volleyball." And she became an excellent volleyball player. And then my middle daughter decided she wanted to run. I said, "Okay, let's go do a 5K together." And then she got hooked, and she's doing that today. She runs, oh shoot, I forget the name of the event, but she does the what do you call it, cross terrain. She does the 100-mile runs.
Oh, like ultra
Yeah,
running.
it's like ultra, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not on the road. It's actually, she runs through the mountains, and wherever the particular event is.
I'm
So
I'm in I'm in Colorado. I'm familiar.
yeah,
Plenty of those
yeah.
out here. Yeah.
So yeah, Big Bend, Texas is where she does a lot of runs. It's like a 50K run she likes to do every year. Um, but it's just funny how the kids just decide what they want to do. And I think, to get back to your original question, was, how do you get them interested, or get them to that next level? And a lot of times it's just exposing them to different things. And some days they say, "Dad, why are you making me play softball?" Um, but on the next day, it's like, Dad, I'm really into math. I really want to do this. And they just stand up one day and say, this is what I want to do.
Do you think even just that skill of waking up one day and deciding to learn something, do you think that is taught, or do you think that's just what eventually happens as a kid grows up? Like, do you think there was ever something that maybe your girls saw you do that sparked something? Because that's something we've talked about in the past few weeks here, is like what are the things that we do that we hope our kids see us do that might spark some kind of interest? Do you think your daughter's running in volleyball, do you think in any way that started from what they might have seen you do?
I think 400%, because I don't want to say lead by example, but at the end of the day, um, when you show up with your kids and do what you love, and then you're trying different things in front of them, they get curious and they start trying different things.
Have they ever seen you fail in those things?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say volleyball is probably the quick one if we're talking sports. At the end of the day, it's like I played volleyball with a co-ed group, and the fun part about that is they'd come watch the matches, and we would stumble and fumble and just make a mess of ourselves, but we're just laughing and having fun. And so the kids are watching, seeing it's like, oh, Dad likes this. And it's like he's not very good at it, but this is
But
actually kind of fun to
laughing.
watch him or the sport.
Yeah.
So we're talking a lot of sports here, but
Last question I have for you, David. Or maybe it's not the last. I don't know. We got 30 seconds left, and maybe we'll go over because it's Friday.
lightning round. Go ahead.
This is where I'm at here, and especially with my 12-year-old who's moving into her stage of independence here. Um, when you are doing things with, or in the past, thinking about in the past when you may have like started doing these things with them, whether it was volleyball or just getting him into running. And this is from me personally. Was there ever a point where you were doing those things together and at some point they started carrying it as their own thing, even up to the point where it's like they'd rather do it without you?
Oh, interesting question. Um, I think all my kids wanted me to do it with them. If that makes sense.
So
But I think that that morning they woke up and said, "This is what I want to do." We didn't talked about my youngest. She's big into photography, and she just woke up one day. It's like, this is what I'm going to do. This is the equipment I need. This is I got to figure this out, and she set it all up herself. Um, so I don't think it was ever that case, at least with me.
so it was always something that was like a connection point with them. It was never something where your daughters would have I guess the question is, at what point did you ever feel like you were becoming dead weight? And not in terms of the actual skill or activity, just in terms of like being like a social weight. Like as an example, I'm kind of like I'm growing into this stage of a dad of a 12-year-old. And one of the things that I notice is that, like, number one, you become less cool, right? But it's like you're still the provider, so like they have to ask you about things. And there's times when it's like I can go away, Dad. You can go away. We're good. That's
Yeah,
where I'm at. My
yeah,
12-year-old
I've
and
had those moments. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like, Dad, you can leave the room now. It's okay, and they're
yeah.
really polite about it. But at the end of the day, it's like, It's like a bad dad joke. It's like, okay, that was that fell to the floor. Nobody's impressed. Nobody laughed. Dad, you can leave the room.
It's almost like we become a walking dad joke.
Yeah.
Where they just roll their eyes just by showing up
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah, so it's like now that I have my oldest there with my 10-year-old, I'm like, wow, I really kind of have like 2 years left where it's like me and Kristen are the main people. And then like with my 6-year-old, it's like, wow, I can't believe how much time has passed and how little I remember. Like a little dad thought I had. I guess I'll end with this thought today. But and you can chime in before we leave, David. But I was tucking in my girls 2 nights ago after Kristen left. And it's like something we've done thousands of times, probably more than 1,000. And it's like the routine's the same most nights. It's like you read, pajamas, brush your teeth, tuck in. How many of those do I actually remember? And I was sitting there thinking, it's like, I can maybe remember maybe 5 specific tuck-ins out of all those nights. And it was just a moment. I got a little bit sad, but it was just a little reflection on like, do I need to write this down? Like what happens at night? Because it's like I remember one with my oldest where we read a book that she memorized, and it's like she jumped into bed with us so many times, and I barely remember those. But it's just all this, just kind of one amalgamous experience that just it's unspecific, just a part of my life. I might be rambling, but any thoughts on that?
No, I'm listening. Yeah.
Those things that just kind of meld into just your existence and not specific memories.
Yeah, let's talk memories and current. The thing that sparked what you just said there was the funny part is bad dad jokes. My kids would, groan and push me out of the room. And now today they ask me to, tell them a bad dad joke. Anyway, saying bad dads is more AKA I have my own mannerisms. And now that they're grown adults and they're out on their own, they miss that. If that makes sense. So, let's go back to, childhood, reading to your kids, putting them to bed and, doing that tuck in routine. I used to sing to them. And now they miss that. They call me up and it's like, Dad, could you sing to me? So it's just like, it comes around. Let's put it that way. Yeah, you got a smile on your face, so I can see it.
Yeah.
It's those memories. It's like you don't remember, but they do. And it's like going back to what we talked about earlier. It's like, did you lead by example? Did they follow your lead or did they do it on their own? And, what was your purpose there? Let's put it that way as a parent.
Yeah. Good. That gives me that's I'm almost, David, I am almost choking up right now.
Hey, something to look forward to.
Yeah. So thanks, David, for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, David, we got to go. I have to go. I hear steps upstairs. But awesome to hear your voice, Mr. Black Box.
Yeah, I need to work on this black box thing.
I can't help you from here, David, so you got to do it yourself. But
Thank you.
But we'll always welcome you just in voice only.
All right.
All right, folks, that is our day. Tomorrow, I think Dom's out. I'm going to try to jump on. I have the intention of bringing on my brother-in-law. I had a really good Saturday. I enjoyed bringing some people. It's not like I'm making this just about me and my friends. I just like my family. I just enjoy the interview process and introducing all you awesome people to the awesome people that I met.
Well, Dee Dee's always a good guest, so you can bring her.
Say it again. I didn't hear what you said, David.
I said Dee Dee is a good guest. You can always bring her.
Will always be
earlier in the summer.
Will always be a good guest. Yeah. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. 80% chance I'll be on. So if not, you guys have a great weekend. We will see you back on Monday here Daily Dads with Dom, hopefully, maybe Ryan, sometimes Blaze. He is still alive. I talked to him this morning. That's it. Make it a great Friday, folks.
Yes. Enjoy your day.
7 to 10. See you, David.
All right. Cheers.